In a corner of Ibadan, where gossip travel faster than Wi-Fi, and all your neighbors know your shoe size, one man's boss was more famous than the local council chairman. They called him Sorry Baby. Don't ask why. Just know he drove kids to school and sometimes their parents to the markets, all in one trip. But when his boss vanished, huh, let's just say the whole town nearly called a town meeting. This, my friend, is how chaos, coconut heads, and community came together to bring back a legend. In the vibrant city of Ibadan, where the morning sun kisses roasted zinc rooftops and the scent of akara blends with the clamor of traders setting up for the day, lived a man named Femi Adewale. But to everyone in the community, from the tiniest school child to the oldest baba at the junction, he was simply known as Sorry Baby. The name wasn't an insult or a joke. It was a badge of honor, a symbol of the man's personality and presence. The nickname was borrowed from the slogan boldly printed on the rear windshield of his downfall bus. Sorry baby, no time for play. A catchy phrase his boss once insisted every boss under his fleet must carry. But while others saw it as a formality, Femi embraced it. He wasn't just a bus driver, he was the soul of the road, the heartbeat of his neighborhood. Sorry Baby was unlike any other Danfo driver. He was disciplined, kind, and unusually meticulous. While most buses on the road were dusty, dented, and decorated with duct tape and rust, his was a shining chariot. Every morning, before the first rays of sunlight spilled over the earth, Sorry Baby was already outside with a bucket of soapy water and a rag. He would to old Ebenezer Obey and King Sunny Ade songs while scrubbing the body of his downfall, pausing occasionally to greet passerby with a warm smile and a salute. His boss had character, a custom stereo system that played sweet Yoruba oldies, clean leather seats, and an interior that smelled like vanilla. It wasn't just a means of transport, it was a moving sanctuary, and for many students, it was their unofficial school bus. Every morning, he would pass by Alagbaka Secondary School and hoot his horn twice, like clockwork. A dozen students would come running from all corners of the neighborhood. He never chatted them, not once. Una go pass this exam, abi? He would ask cheerfully. On special days, he would press folded 100 naira or 200 naira notes into their palms with a wink. Use and buy bread and coke. Make your brain cool. The parents adored him too. Mothers would wave at him from their stalls. Fathers would shout, "Sorry baby, correct man," from across the street. Even children who couldn't talk yet recognized him. He had offer sweets, a little wave, and a playful wink. He wasn't rich, far from it, but his wealth was in the hearts he touched. Back home, Femi was a husband and father, His wife, Abike, lovingly known as Mama Tayo, was the calm to his storms, the quiet strength behind his boisterous spirits. They had four beautiful children: Tayo, the eldest and calmest; Ronke, sharp-tongued and witty; Damilola, always asking questions; and baby Shade, barely two, but already with a laugh that could melt stones. They lived in a modest bungalow with flaking yellow paint and a squeaky gate. It wasn't perfect, but it was home. The family would gather on the veranda each evening, sharing bowls of eba or rice, listening to Femi recount tales from his day. He was the kind of father who never missed a school open day, who danced embarrassingly at birthday parties, who told bedtime stories with sound effects that made the children squeal with laughter. Life for the Adewale family was simple and joyful. But then, life has a way of throwing stones into peaceful waters. It was a Thursday morning in June. The sky was heavy with clouds, and the air smelled like rain. Femi had just finished his morning devotion and was sipping hot pap when he decided to step out to prep the bus. He slipped on his worn-out slippers and strolled to the tiny garage beside the house. He pushed open the wooden gates and froze. There was nothing there, just an empty space. The bus was gone. His breath caught. He blinked twice, then rubbed his eyes as if they were playing tricks on him. He ran back inside. Abike, Abike, where is the bus? Did you move it? His wife rushed out, confusion painted all over her face. Move it? How? With my back? Femi, what's going on? He ran back to the garage, checked the surrounding area, asked the neighbors. Everyone began to gather as the panic spread. Sorry, baby. Na joke. You sure say you pack am here yesterday? Maybe dem tow am. But no one had heard anything strange in the night. No noises, no commotion, nothing. Femi collapsed onto the wet ground. Rain began to drizzle, but it didn't move. The same man who once laughed louder than the thunder sat there in silence. His face was blank. That bus was more than a vehicle. It was the family's source of income. It was his pride, his identity. He reported the theft to the police. Flyers were made. Local radio stations made announcements. The neighborhood searched tirelessly. Children cried. Adults cursed. The mechanic who serviced the bus came to sit with Femi every evening. No worry. Sorry, baby. He go show. God know the sleep. But days turned to weeks. Leaves went cold. Femi changed. He became a ghost of himself. He barely spoke. His beard grew wild. He no longer played music. The bucket of soapy water sat unused. He started sitting in front of the house from sunrise till nightfall, staring into space. His children tiptoed around him. Shade would run to him sometimes, press her small hands on his cheeks, and say, Daddy, smile, smile for me. And he would force it, just for her. But the smile never reached his eyes. Mama Tayo became the strength of the family, waking early to sell puff-puff and akara by the roadside, just to keep food on the table. Ronke began helping her after school. Tayo took up shoe shining during the weekends. Everyone sacrificed. But what hurt most wasn't the poverty. It was the absence of joy. And then, 6 weeks after the theft, a miracle began to unfold. Far away in Akure, Ondo State, A group of final year students from Alagbaka Secondary School had traveled to write their WAEC exams. Some of them were the same students Sorry Baby had carried for years. That Monday morning, they boarded the Danfo to take them to their exam center. The bus was unfamiliar, blue and white, with different seats and a different driver, but something felt off. Jide, one of the students, sat near the back and froze. He leaned forward, tapping his friend, Bisi. See that stain on the window? The shape dey like that chewing gum stain wey Sorry Baby always dey complain about. Bisi frowned. True o. And this dashboard, the way e bend small, na like that Sorry Baby own. They began whispering, glancing around the bus. More signs emerged. A small faded sticker on the corner of the windshield, barely visible now, but unmistakable. The stereo knob that had a tiny chip, the overhead rack with a bent bar. This wasn't just any Danfo, it was his boss, repainted, redecorated, and disguised. Their hearts raised. They alighted quietly, memorizing the number plates. One of them snapped a picture with a phone. They followed the bus at a distance until it turned into a garage at the edge of the town. The students took notes of everything. That night, they called their parents in Ibadan. The message traveled fast, and when it reached Sorry Baby, who had barely spoken a full sentence in weeks, something in him stirred. Hope. For the first time in over a month, he stood up. He looked at Mama Tayo and said, "Get my shirts. I need to go to Akure." Femi arrived in Akure just before dawn. The sky still a pale grey canvas as traders started arranging their goods. He wore his only white native wear, the one he saved for church, now pressed and paired with sandals that had seen better days. Despite his worn appearance, there was fire in his eyes. He made his way straight to the local police station with the information the students had provided, the bus's license plates, the location of the garage, and the time it usually arrived. A weary-looking officer took the statement and nodded slowly. "We will look into it," he mumbled. But Femi didn't wait. With help from the boy's parents who had called ahead, he located the mechanic garage on the outskirts of town. It was tucked beside a dusty road, shielded by rusted zinc walls, and an old billboard advertising herbal remedies. He stood outside the gate for a moment, heart thumping, and then the sound. It wasn't loud, just a soft rumble, the short rev of an engine, but it sent shivers through his spine. He pushed the gate gently. There it was, packed among other battered Danfos, was his purse. It had been repainted, a dull white with blue stripes. The front bumper had been replaced, and the slogan on the rear windshield had been scratched out. But he knew it. Every curve, every dent, every piece of soul embedded in that vehicle. He walked around it slowly, reaching out to touch the driver's mirror, still slightly crooked, just as he remembered. A young man in grease-stained overalls approached. "Oga, you dey find something?" Femi didn't flinch. "Yes, this bus. It belonged to me. It gets stolen for Ibadan over 6 weeks ago." The mechanic narrowed his eyes. "No, this one a customer own. He bring am come 2 weeks ago for work. Call am, tell am make e come. We go settle this one." With the support of the police and the photos from the students, the mechanic reluctantly made the call. The man who arrived an hour later was tall and lean, with sharp eyes and a swagger that screamed trouble. He claimed to have bought the bus off someone in Lagos. No receipt, just paperwork, just a trust me handshake. Femi stood his ground. He narrated every detail of the bus: the chipped stereo knob, the bent overhead rack, the hidden scratch under the back seats. He even described the scent of vanilla that still faintly lingered inside. It was enough. The police intervened fully now, and after days of back and forth, threats, bribes attempted and refused, and a community of voices rising in support, the bus was released back to Femi. The ride back to Ibadan was nothing short of a victory parade. Children gathered on the streets, clapping and chanting. Mothers ululated. Fathers slapped him on the back. Someone even brought out a talking drum, beating it in rhythms of chants of "Sorry baby today, sorry baby has come." Tears ran down Femi's cheeks as he parked the bus in its old garage. He placed his forehead on the steering wheel and whispered, "Oluwa Sheo, thank you my God." That night, he washed the bus for the first time in months. With papery hands and a bucket of soapy water, he scrubbed every inch as the family stood nearby, watching silently. Shade waddled over with a rag and joined him. When he turned on the stereo, and that first Ebenezer Obey song played again, it was as if time had rewound. But Femi was different now, tempered by loss, strengthened by community, and reminded that even when joy fades, it can be found again. The next morning, as the horn sounded twice near Alagbaka Secondary School, the neighborhood rejoiced. Sorry Baby was back on the road, and the heartbeats of the neighborhood beat stronger than ever. Life slowly returned to rhythm for Femi, popularly known as Sorry Baby. The children's laughter echoed once more as they clambered into the refurbished bus. Mother waved at him as he passed, shouting, "Welcome back, Sorry Baby." Life, it seemed, was returning to the way it had always been. But underneath that joy, something gnawed at Femi's spirit. The mystery of who stole the bus remained unsolved. The supposed buyer in Akure had revealed very little during police interrogation. No clear name, no confirmed seller, just vague references to a guy in Lagos Island. One evening, after the children had gone to bed, Femi sat on the porch with Mama Tayo. He ran his fingers along the armrests, his brows furrowed. "Tayomi," he said softly, "that thief, I feel say he no far from here. He know me too well." She looked up from her knitting. "Why you talk like that?" He looked out into the darkness. "Because the bus was taken so clean. They no break anything. Then get spare key. Only few people fit get am." She paused. "Maybe, maybe you should talk to Sheyi." Sheyi, Femi's younger cousin, had been living with them on and off. He had once helped Femi manage the bus and knew the routines, the spare key locations, and even the mechanics who had worked on it. Femi's chest tightened. He didn't want to believe it, but the possibility was now too loud to ignore. Femi approached Sheyi the next morning after breakfast. The young man was whistling, earbuds in, watching the front of the compound. He looked up and smiled. "Egbon, morning sir." Femi nodded. "Sheyi, I wan talk to you. Serious matter." Sheyi's smile faded. "Wetin happen? You know anything about the boss wey him lost? You dey house that day. I no dey accuse you. I just wan clear my mind." Sheyi's face tightened. "Ha, Egbon, me ke. God forbid bad thing. I no fit try am. I no dey steal." But Femi noticed something. A twitch in the corner of his cousin's eye, a slight tremble in his fingers. "You sure say you no fit try am, even if person offer you money?" "Egbon, I swear." "No swear. Just tell me the truth. I no go vex." Then silence. Sheyi looked down. the rag in his hand now clenched. After a long moment, he whispered, "Then say na just small job. Say make I leave gate open. I no know say dem go carry the bus." Femi staggered slightly, his hand reaching for the wall. Who? Who be them? She hesitated again, then said, "Taiwo, the mechanic wey used to dey work for you before, the one you sacked last year." Femi's mind raced. Taiwo had been let go after he was caught trying to siphon fuel from the bus. Femi hadn't reported him. He simply asked him to leave. Clearly, the man hadn't forgotten. With this revelation, Femi returned to the police. With the backing of the community and the newly uncovered connection, the officers reopened the investigation. Taiwo was tracked down to a motor park near Ojo. When confronted, Taiwo initially denied the allegations, but when presented with Sheyi's confession, he snapped. "Na una fault," he spat. "He embarrassed me that day, sacked me like say I be thief. I just collect small payback." Femi clenched his fist, but instead of rage, there was a profound sadness. "You betray person wey treat you like brother," Femi said, voice low. Taiwo was arrested and charged with conspiracy and theft. Sheyi was let go with a warning and under Femi's urging, made to do community service in the neighborhood as a form of restitution. Despite everything, Femi chose grace. He focused on rebuilding. With the help of friends and neighbors, he rebranded the bus again. This time, the slogan on the bus read, "Sorry baby, rides with love." He started organizing weekend trips for children in the neighborhood who had never seen places outside their immediate environment: the zoo, the stadium, cultural centers. His reputation grew beyond Ibadan. A local journalist picked up his story, and soon, a feature aired on TV. Donations started coming in. A transport company gifted him a second bus. Femi didn't keep it. He handed it over to another struggling driver in the area. Femi doubled down on his mission. He began a small foundation using the donations that continued to trickle in. He named it Ride with Love, in honor of the new slogan painted across his bus. He expanded the weekend trips to include educational excursions for many children. Stepping into Sorry Baby's bus became their first encounter, with history museums, art galleries, and libraries. Their eyes lit up as new worlds unfolded before them. Parents from neighboring communities began asking if their children could join too. Femi never said no. "This bus is for the future," he would say, patting the side of the door. "And the future lives in these children." Though she used betrayal all too deeply, Femi didn't cast him aside. Instead, he mentored him. The boy worked every weekend on the bus, cleaning, checking tires, handling schedules. Slowly, trust was rebuilt. People began to treat Sheyi differently, not as the boy who betrayed, but as the young man who returned to earn back his place. At one of the foundation's public outreach events, Femi asked Sheyi to speak. Sheyi's voice trembled as he stood before the crowd. "I almost destroyed everything," he confessed, "but Uncle Femi gave me another chance. I am grateful, and I promise to keep making him proud. Thank you, Egbomi." The crowd clapped, many with tears in their eyes. In that moment, Femi knew forgiveness wasn't weakness, it was power. Femi's story was now being told in classrooms. University students studied it as part of social ethics models. The phrase, "Sorry baby rides with love," became a symbol of kindness, resilience, and the second chances. Even government officials took notice. The governor of Oyo State invited Femi for a recognition ceremony, presenting him with a community hero medal. Femi chuckled as he shook the governor's hand. "Not just ordinary driver I be o," but everyone knew better. He wasn't ordinary. He was extraordinary. He was sorry baby, not just a driver, but a movement. A reminder that in a world often riddled with selfishness and betrayal, there are still people who choose love, who choose to lift others, even when they've been knocked down themselves. Sorry baby rides with love. And love, indeed, was the engine that would drive him forward.